Hi, I'm Engineer Darwin and welcome back to my channel. Right now we will discuss about the compound interest. And this is a continuation of our series about engineering economy, and stay tuned for more videos about this topic. But right now, let's have the general formula for the compound interest. So yung nakikita nyo sa screen ninyo ngayon, ito yung ating formula para mahanap natin yung future amount if the principal amount is exposed in a compounding interest. For our variable f, this is your future amount, or the amount somewhere in the future after some period of time, is our principal amount or the initial amount, I is our rate of interest, and then we have here called, this is your period, and is our number of compounding factor. So sa compounding factor naman, meron tayong tinatawag na, bisa tayo sa tinatawag na yearly. Pag yearly, ang ating compounding factor is 1, dahil isang beses lang tayo nagkaroon ng interest throughout the year. Next to that is we have semi-yearly or semi-annual, that is 2 times a year. How about pag 4 times a year naman? We call this quarterly. And then pag monthly naman ang ating compounding interest, we divide it by 12, and last but not least, kapag meron naman tayong daily, this is 365 days, or 365 over interest rate divided by 365. And also we have what you call the bankers here, which is using 360 days as our factor on finding or solving for our compound interest. Let's use this formula for the problem that I'm showing right now. For the first example, it goes like this. A man wishes that his son should receive a 200,000 peso 10 years from now. What amount should the father or he should invest so that it will earn an interest of 10,000 or 10% compounded annually during the first 5 years and 12% compounded quarterly during the next 5 years. Okay, so let's have the important information that we can see in this problem. Number 1 is your 200,000 peso is actually your future amount. Dahil gusto ng father na makakuha yung kanyang son 10 years from now, this amount of 200,000 pesos. But our interest or compounding, also the simple or compounding interest that we have here is meron tayong 10% compounded annually for the first 5 years and 12% quarterly for the next 5 years. What can we do about this information? Let me introduce to you what you call a cash flow diagram. So how can we use this to plot the problem? Okay. For the cash flow, you can draw your timeline from year 0 until year 10. Since ang given natin is 10 years, the son will receive an amount of 200,000 pesos. And the problem is, or what we are looking for, is what amount should the father invest. So this is what you call the principal amount. And this is what are we looking for. In the problem, we are given that the first 5 years is invested on an interest rate with 10% compounded annually. So let's divide this cash flow diagram by 2. Okay, in the first 5 years, this is compounded annually by how much? 10%. And the compounding period is annually or yearly. So we will use the factor of 1. For the next 5 years, or the last 5 years, this is compounded as well, but it has 12%, and this is on a quarterly basis, which we will use the factor of 4. Okay. So the principle about cash flow diagram is to imagine what is happening on the problem and use the necessary details para ma-plot mo yung kailangan mong malaman na information. Okay. For the next step naman na gagawin natin is to work backwards. Since given natin is the future amount, we are looking for the principal or the initial investment. So drawing again our cash flow diagram, we need to find the principal amount on this period or the 5th year. And to get that, we need to find the principal amount that happened between this period of 12% quarterly. So to do that, we can manipulate our formula by solving for P, which is our principal amount is this one over F. Okay, so do that. Let's substitute some values, like our future amount is 200,000 pesos. 1 plus interest rate is 0.12, which is 12%. The factor I'm going to use is, since it's quarterly, we use 4 here, and then you raise it by the time that is exposed on the interest rate. For the time since we are talking about years, okay, what you need to do is to get the total number of compounding happen between 5 years. So, ang mangyari dyan is you have your original 5 years and then it is multiplied by 4. Question is why? Why we need to multiply this by 4? It's because during 1 year, this is compounded na quarterly basis. So, 4 na beses siyang nagkakaroon ng interest. So, kaya kailangan natin siyang i-multiply by 4. And this will happen as well with a semi-annual, a monthly, or daily basis. So, using your calculators, we can find the amount, the principal amount on the 5th year, which is 110,735 and 15 cents. And this amount is per our 5th year of compounding. So by working backwards, we need to find the initial amount on the year 0. So to do that, let's draw again the cash flow diagram. We have here 110, 735, and 15 cents. But for this time, this is your future amount because this is exposed to a compounding interest of 10% annually. Okay, so let's find our principal amount using the same step that we had earlier. So, ang mangyari dyan is 1 plus I, which is 0.10 divided by 1 dahil annual ang ating compounding in this case. And then, it's the same thing that we expose this 5 years times 1. Since this is annual, your future amount is 110 and 735.15. So by using our calculator, to encode nyo lang ito to get our principal amount 10 years prior to 200,000 receiving. This is 68,757.82 cents. So, we answered the question. This means that if the father invested 68,000, almost 68,000 peso with this setup of 10% compounded annually for the first 5 years and then 12% compounded quarterly for the next 5 years, sigurado tayo that his son will receive a total amount of 200,000 peso after 9 years. Okay, hopefully, you learned something out of the solution that we had. How about this problem? And this will be the last one on this tutorial. The problem is we have a 200 pet. Oh no, it's not 200, but it's 2,000 peso loan was originally made at 8% simple interest for 4 years. At the end of this period, the loan was extended for another 3 years without the interest paid, but the new interest is exposed or made with 10% compounded semi-annually. How much the borrower of the 2,000 peso loan should pay at the end of 7 years. So I highlighted here some important info like your principal amount is 2,000 peso loan exposed on 8% simple interest for the first 4 years, and then after that the money is exposed at around 10% compounded semi-annually for another 2 years. So let's have our working equation for this problem. So again, we need to have what you call a cash flow diagram for us to imagine what happened on this 2,000 peso loan. Okay, so let's start with the loan amount at year 0. For the next 4 years, this is exposed on 8%, but it's not compounded. It has a 8% simple interest. And then for the next 3 years, for year 7, until year 7 before the loan was paid, it has 10% compounded interest with semi-annual basis. So we have here the working cash flow diagram because we need to find what is the future amount or the amount that the borrower should pay after 7 years. So for the first 4 years, let's find what happened to our loan rate. To find the future amount on a simple interest, since it's a simple interest, this is the principal. In relation to the first video, if you haven't watched it, you can check on the thumbnail that I'm showing you right now. Okay. Let's have the 8% interest multiplied by 4. Okay. So this is 2,000 pesos times this value. The answer to this one on the first scenario is, so you can try this on your calculator. You can encode these numbers to check if you got the right answer. Okay, how was it? Let's see, 2,000 peso multiplied by the 8% interest rate for the next 4 years. The answer to this one is 2,640 exact. So wala tayong centavo on this. Okay, so let's take note of this one because we are going to use this for the next scenario, that is for the next 3 years. This is compounded by how much? That is 10% semi-annually. So for the next part of your cash flow diagram, your principal amount is the one we got earlier, which is 2,648 pesos. The future amount is unknown, and you have this detail of 10% semi-annually. So if you have this information ready, we can simply find the future amount after 7 years by multiplying the principal amount, then 1 plus interest rate is 10%, so it's 0.10 or 0.10. The compounding factor for the word semi, it's 2 times per year, so times 2. It's exposed for around 3 years, then multiply it by 2 dahil siya ay semi-annual. So let's have our calculators to solve on this equation that we just came up with. Okay. And our final answer, or the amount that the borrower should pay after 7 years from a 2,000 peso loan, is around 3,000 pesos, 537.85 cents. Okay, so after 7 years, the borrower should pay this amount because of the loan. Okay. Pero kapag ikaw yung nagpahiram, that's a good thing for you since you have a profit out of it. So, I hope you learned something from our examples for this lesson. So again, I'm Engineer Darwin. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe in this channel. If you want to check on my next videos, you can click on the notification bell. Just click it to get notified, and see you on the next video.